Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Smelly, and today is video number 32 of my Beginning Gardener series. Now, I just finished planting my squash, and I'll link that video above. That was my last video. And I am going to start it indoors, and I explained why I started indoors on the last video. But before we head outside to show you what I'm hardening off and talk about why I'm doing it and what you need to do to harden off veggies, I'm first going to show you my grow room. Now, I'll link a video up above that shows the last tour of my grow room, which was a lot more full than it is now. And let's show you what I have left and then go show you what I have outside. So this is what my grow room looks like right now. Some pretty empty shelves with my squash that I just started, some sweet potatoes that are going to go outside later. I've got a little pawpaw seedling. Isn't that exciting? Got my citrus that will be repotted in another video. I think I'll do that on a Saturday. This is Thursday. And we've got some dwarf tomatoes inside that I've been harvesting inside, and those will go out in the garden, but I'm going to put those out at a little bit later date, and they're looking quite good. And the rest is just my succulents collection. So that's what I have indoors. Let's head outside and see what I have out there. Now, I live in Utah zone 6/7, and my last frost date is around May 21st. Now, these are out a little bit early. We've had huge stretches of warm weather. The temperatures at night have stayed in the upper to mid 50s. So I felt like it was time to take my plants out. They were struggling inside. I planted them a little bit early, partly because I wanted to get the videos out on time for other people, and partially because I just get too excited. But it's time to have these plants planted out into the garden. The weather in the weather forecast looks really good, and I have methods to be able to cover them if necessary. Now, the ones that I won't be planting yet are my peppers. I like to wait a little bit later than now to plant those, and I have up-potted those, so those should be fine. But let's show you what everything looks like and talk to you a little bit about how I do hardening off. So when we talk about hardening off, what we're talking about is taking plants that are tender, that have grown inside in very careful conditions with really consistent warm temperatures, no wind other than a fan, and no cold nights, and you slowly start to acclimatize them to those conditions by taking them outside a little bit at a time. Now, as you can see, I have a ton of plants, and hauling them in and out, especially these large ones, would be more damaging than not. So these are what my plants look like right now. There's a lot of them, and I brought these out in an afternoon where the next day was going to be stormy. The afternoon on this side of my house is shady. So I brought them out in the shade in the afternoon. The nighttime temperatures stayed in the upper to mid 50s. And I just left them overnight. Now, if you're going to have colder weather, you need to bring them back in, but I have so many plants and they're so large that bringing them in and out was going to be really difficult and probably more damaging than just leaving them outside. So I left them out overnight that night, and the next day I had timed it carefully. We were going to have a storm, and it was going to be a very mild storm, not a lot of wind. So it was cloudy and it was cooler, which was the perfect temperatures to harden it off. The nighttime temperatures stayed in the mid 50s, and the next day was another cloudy day. And then the last few days have been really sunny. Now I want to show you that on some of my plants, I did get a little bit of sunburn. So this is sunburn right here, and you can avoid that issue by taking your plants in and out and acclimatize them very slowly to the sun. But what I found is a little bit of sun damage does not hurt the plants at all. Got a little tiny bit of sun damage on that leaf right there, but overall these are looking really good. These are my Peruvian ground cherries. There's one that has a little more sun damage, and it looks like they might need to be watered. But this method works really, really well. The key to hardening off is slow and gradual to the full sun. Now, I've actually found that sometimes, depending on the plant, hardening off isn't absolutely necessary. If you're going to be planting plants out like my early spring veggies, I don't really harden them off that much. The only reason they ever come outside is if I start noticing bug pressure inside and the temperatures are right for bringing them out. My winter veggies, I would not bring out in full hot sun, and I try not to do that with my summer veggies too. They do need to be ready for the full hot sun, so I try to make sure that's a gradual process, whether I don't harden them off, do it when you're going to have a series of storms coming through, or when it's a cooler time of the summer, or you're just going to have to plan on taking your plants in and out. Now, if you're going to be taking your plants in and out, the proper hard way of doing it is to take them out for an hour in the morning when the sun is not as intense, take them back in. The next day do 2 hours, take them back in. The next day 3 hours, and gradually acclimatize them to the hottest part of the day. That can be really labor intensive, but that way you're going to avoid the sun damage like I showed you. So now that it's been about 4 days that my plants have been outside, they've been in full sun, they've been in the nighttime temperatures, they're all doing well. They're going to very much benefit by being planted. So that's going to be my next video. I'm going to plant my tomatoes and my flowers and my basil today. And then I'm going to wait to plant my peppers for about another week. I want to make sure that the temperatures are perfectly warm for them, and also the beds that I want to put them in are not quite ready yet. So hopefully this video has been helpful for you. If it has been helpful, I hope you like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.